All right, let's do it live on a Sun-Kissed Thursday edition of the program. Merely Bo and the Great Z. How you living, buddy?
I'm good, man. You know I love Thursdays. Thursdays are like, you had First Friday last night.
Enjoyed yourself?
You got Real Friday tomorrow. You got Thursday. It's the start of the NFL week.
Yeah.
Little Bills Patriots tonight. So I'm pumped. The guys are back in the building. The energy's here. We're fully on to the Houston Texans. We're ready to go. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
If you can get through Thursday morning coming out of a First Friday, you're home free.
I'm trying to rise the ranks. She did Caroline, our new in the content team.
Yep.
She did like rankings, and I was way down the ranks. She said I don't say high enough, so I'm really efforting there.
Where were you?
Low.
Remember what happened to Connor with a
now I'm
K?
at the top of his.
Yeah.
People come around.
They always come around. Yeah, it might take years in some cases for people to pay you compliments or be kind to you.
She was actually incredibly nice yesterday. It's right.
Sometimes it can take a decade.
It could be more.
Long time.
Yeah, about a decade.
About a decade. It's a long time.
It's a good job by you.
Slow to get to it.
That's good by you. Hey, better late than never.
Yeah.
But I guess there's a Secret Santa thing going on, and she wanted to make sure that I was cool with that. 'Cause she'd heard my son had gotten bar mitzvahed, and she just wanted to be, sensitive and making sure I was in. I was like, sweetie, I'm Buddy the Elf. Like, I'm all in. Like,
you are Buddy the Elf.
Let's go. I'm everywhere I drive right now. Christmas songs, nonstop. First thing I do is I wake up, tree lights on, Christmas connect right to the Bluetooth speaker. Always start the day, every single day, with Michael Bublé. It's beginning to look like Christmas, so I start every single day until Christmas. And then I'm going to keep it going after
just
that.
Maple old fashions and
just having the time of my life, just enjoying it. I made a rare midweek beef soup because we don't have the kids this week because I'm out of we got away games next 2 weekends.
Yep.
So a rare midweek beef soup. We watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
I gotta run
or
that
holiday
back.
special. It was good.
How was that? Was that good?
Yeah, it's just 45 minutes of silliness. The whole premise is about that Peter Quill Star-Lord loves Kevin Bacon from his youth, and so Drax and Mantis are going to go bring him Kevin Bacon as a Christmas gift, which is hysterical.
Is that on Disney Plus?
Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Quick
it's
romp.
perfect.
The Santa Claus series
is
great. We're enjoying that.
Yep.
Peyton Manning just made a cameo.
Did he really?
Yeah.
In the most recent.
Interviewing for the role of Santa Claus.
Wow. We did Home Alone Saturday, I think.
Have you done the real Santa Claus for the kids?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. No, they're
Miss
into
Kay's
all of
favorite.
it. They're into all of those. Yeah, they like all of those. It's the wife and I always do Love Actually at some point throughout the month.
We just did that on. We hit that
fantastic.
Tuesday night.
Just can't
I
help
feel
but
it in
agree.
my fingers.
So good.
I feel it.
How good is that guy? He's my
Uncle
hero.
Billy. Yeah,
Uncle Billy.
we
He's my
talked.
guy.
We were talking about this yesterday off air. One of my favorite Christmas movies, even though it's just kind of more centered around Christmas and it's a good like rom-com, whatever. But I don't know why I just forget every year. I forget that it's got some raunchy aspects to it that are not
Visually
suitable for the general public.
When I of a certain age.
Yes, that's right.
So I had forgotten that too. And the first time that I remember it was before kids, and we were telling Amy's parents that they should watch it, that it's great. And they're like, we should watch it. Like, here, we'll watch it. And then the scene that you're discussing comes up, and it hits me. Oh yeah, that's right. And it's probably the most forgettable because it's a totally forgettable storyline in the movie.
Doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense that it's in there. They're sort of kind of tangentially connected to somebody on the
guy
periphery.
who goes to the U.S., the guy who's going to go to America and have the time of his life, which I guess he kind of does.
He does. He wins.
Yeah. His buddy is like the set director.
Right.
That's it. I just think
But don't they show up at the end?
They do.
With somebody? They're hanging out with
They're
Liam Neeson, aren't they?
Yeah, they're connected somehow.
Somehow through that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's that part of it. But yes, I do forget.
Would you like to feel old?
Please. I
Love
love nothing
Actually,
more.
20 years ago.
Good Lord.
How about the fact?
I mean, it's got to be.
20.
Christmas Vacation released in theaters on this day, 1989.
It had to be. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, that's so great.
Miss K, 5 months and change at the time. Fantastic.
Heck of a power play out of you.
It's great.
Yeah. No, that's it. That'll be on there. They'll do that. They'll do Elf. You put me on
8 months and change.
The Office Christmas Party one. That's fun. I'll trot that out this month.
That's a delight.
Yeah.
Jason Bateman?
Oh yeah.
Is that the one?
God,
you're
yeah. Bateman, Aniston.
It is.
That's great.
That is definitely not for the youths.
No.
or the
No,
adults,
no,
or the
no,
older
no,
adults.
no. It's
I'm
great.
still an old Grinch. I like the old Grinch cartoon, like the 20
classic?
minute. Love
For
that.
sure.
That's fantastic.
It is a
That's
good
great.
one. The new Christmas Story movie is good. Christmas Story Christmas.
Oh, is it? They
And
do okay
it
with
hits
that?
a lot of the notes. It pays homage. I mean, it's hard because the tour de force is the old man.
The old man is the whole
And he's-
operation.
And it's kind of in some ways a tribute to the old man, which is I'm all for old man content. That sounded weird, but
Yeah.
the old man in Christmas Story. But yeah, that's a great one. I The Night Before isn't bad. It's not as good
I don't
as
think I've
Office
seen
Christmas Party. Same vein, same genre. It's got Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
You've never seen that?
I don't think so.
Rogen. It's got the guy who is Falcon in the Marvel series.
Okay, that guy's in the mix.
He's in the mix.
Okay.
Rogen, and then I can't believe I'm blanking on the third, but the third person's also of note.
It's amazing how many there are. The Elf is great. Obviously, goes
elite.
without saying. That's elite, buddy.
Yeah.
And
That's
then-
me, Little
that's
Buddy
you,
Diapers.
Little Buddy the Elf. Yeah. The I like the one with Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
Four
Christmases?
Four Christmases.
Like it's a tour de force out of Vaughn at the Christmas
Oh, that's an
pageant
automatic. Oh,
concert.
he's unreal.
He's
what about Favreau?
Favreau's amazing.
I mean, come on. The dad
Favreau
is Duvall.
Yeah, that's right. Bob Duvall.
Bob Duvall.
That's right. Favreau eating the chicken wings.
wanted
And then
to
Sue
wrestle,
from
and then-
Swingers, who I've never seen him in anything, shows
Yeah.
up since Swingers. He's been in nothing, and then shows up as Vaughn dating Vaughn's mom,
Yeah,
just randomly.
great.
So great, so great.
The Holiday's also a nice one if you want like
Yeah.
a romantic one. A little Jack Black,
The swap,
Kate Winslet,
and then who's on the other side of that? Is it Jude Law and somebody?
Jude Law. Yeah, Jude
Diaz.
Law. And Cameron Diaz. Yeah,
There you go. All right, well we've done it. There you go.
There it is.
The next level's next.
it's a good rundown by us.
Really was. Gave you everything you need.
Were you ever a Polar Express guy?
My kids like it. My wife watches it with the kids.
Yeah.
I was done in. I did that ridiculous Cuyahoga Falls train thing. That
yeah.
thing.
Oh, the Polar Express.
That sucker.
Yeah,
I
well.
got talked into that.
Kids were old enough. I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, it's not the real Polar
Win.
Express.
Win.
Klaus is good. Have you seen that? It's the origin story of Santa Claus called
No, I've
Klaus.
not.
Oh,
No.
and I think the kids will like it. It's good. It's like a cartoon.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
What is that, like a Hallmark movie or something?
No, it's on. No,
I just remember
Is the Miz
taking
in
that.
that with a bunch of guns and
no. Christmas
explosions
Bounty
and-
though. They're ready for Christmas Bounty.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God.
What is he doing? What is he doing?
He's showing up to look at property at the Yellowstone Club
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Is what he's doing.
It looks like
I'm
he's.
sorry, you have the 17-acre plot back on the lower 40. Can I take a look?
It
That's
looks
what-
like he's like either a
Oh my
gajillionaire
gosh.
or like the lead pilot of the Blue Angels who's just
Same.
about to like stroll into the
equal amount of panache.
panache.
Both are there.
Oozing.
Oh my gosh, oozing charisma today.
Oozing Christmas.
That was a next level.
Klaus is on Netflix. 95% Rotten Tomatoes, Gibbe. Bite your tongue. Klaus. Klaus. It's it's great. Kids will love it. It's the origin story of Santa.
There you go. I like it.
Highly recommended.
I'm trying to remember. I remember on that ridiculous train thing, and it's probably great for some kids, but I was not in a great mood. And we had all three of the boys, and on the way down to Peninsula, which is the North Pole for it, one of the boys spilled their hot chocolate all over me. All over. They were little, and of course you get the piping hot chocolate.
The cocoa.
and the hot chocolate got spilled all over
Yeah.
me. And so there's an image of me somewhere. I will find it because it's quite funny. I think you guys would both enjoy the misery of it. But as we get there, I'll never forget. Yep,
I will never enjoy your misery.
you'll like this photo though because
I got a good laugh. In my
You're gonna like
mind,
it.
I got a little picture. I totally get it
Yeah.
because it's happened to me.
Yeah, so their kids are crawling on me. It's taken longer than they want for it to get down there. I think it was
there yet, Dad?
right. Beamsy was real quick spotting out the Santa Claus. Daddy's got a fake beard. Fake beard. It's not a real beard on the Santa. Like he was quick to spot that quickly. Then we get down to Peninsula. Now we were building at the time, so we were driving 303 from North Royalton to Boston Heights area almost once a week, and we would drive through 303, and we're driving through, and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we're reaching the North Pole. And my oldest goes, Dad, the North Pole's a winking lizard? And I
Yes.
go, amazing. It really is. And then Beamsy goes, Dad, the elves are fake. They're not even real. And so the whole thing was to hell. And then you have the whole ride back. Go all the way back.
And you're trying not to ruin
The
it for
elves
all
are
the
fake.
other
They're not
kids
even
that
real.
believe that this is real.
Yeah.
And your boys have totally.
Yeah, because they would
We're going
drive
to take
by.
down the entire
First
train.
of all,
It
let
was
me say
amazing.
one thing for everybody
Magical.
listening right now today. Santa Claus is real. I'm going to go
I don't
ahead.
know that it
and
needs to be said. I
I'm
feel like
gonna
it's
go ahead
known.
and-
It is
well,
known.
I don't know but I don't want somebody
Yeah.
to misconstrue the words of this man.
Yeah.
Right here. Number 2,
What did I do?
if you are going to, there's only one Santa Claus. He can't be everywhere. He can't be in
Can't
every
be.
mall.
Gotta have guys
There's
working for him.
only one. So he's got to have his crew. If you sign up, though, to be in the crew to represent the great Saint
The
Nick,
man.
the man himself, SC, you've got to grow your beard. You got
You have
to.
to.
You've got to commit to it. My Uncle Loy, full commitment. 8, white hair, the beard, whole deal.
Got to. I agree.
There's one that we had at First Energy Stadium the last couple of years. As legit as it gets.
Yep.
Can't tell me for sure, not the real guy. That's how good it is.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
gotta
what
be
you
the
need, though. You
operation.
can't be in there like in the
No.
Elf, like Artie Lang in a fake beard, smelling like beef
Can't
and
have
cheese.
it. Can't have it. No, you got to do your end of the deal here, kids. All right, we've got a matchup. It's a matchup Thursday. We have guess the lines coming up. That's pure joy.
I've been
That's-
training. Some of this.
I like it. I like where your head's at on that. You'll hear
Yeah.
from AVP. We will do our offense versus the Texans defense coming up next. Deshaun Watson at the podium from earlier. We'll have that for you in 15 minutes. Go ahead, Z.
Oh, yeah, good. There you go. Perfect. Great catch.
Little
Yeah,
B
super-
moment. That is a little
That was
B.
no trust
moment.
in your Big B partner.
Nope.
By me? You did say
Yep.
coming up next.
No.
No. You didn't listen.
What did he say?
You heard.
Coming up
but
in
you
a
Coming
didn't
up
little-
listen.
next, a little matchup, a little AVP,
little,
and then in about
yeah.
15 minutes.
Well, you heard that part, but I heard you said that 15 minutes after you said Deshaun Watson, to be fair.
but I
Can't
did
take
say
you
coming up
anywhere.
next.
Yeah.
You did.
AVP and offense, and then Deshaun Watson in about 15 minutes.
Nice
That
job,
was
Z.
it. All right.
Oh for
We're
one.
off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey there, Browns fans. Enter for your chance to win Browns season tickets, free Milk-Bone dog treats for a year and more. It's all courtesy of Milk-Bone, the official dog treat of your Cleveland Browns. Visit browns.com/milkbone to enter. Then visit your local Meijer to check out the varieties of Milk-Bone dog treats. And now let's head to the podium. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt.
Start to Deshaun. The fact he isn't.
You're done.
Do you think it'll take him a while during games for him to be like himself, or how fast do you think he can?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume there'll be rust. It's common with anybody that hasn't played in a long time, no matter what position. So there'll be some rust to knock off. It is football, which he's done his whole life, so hopefully he knocks it off quickly. But I just have expectations that there'll be some rust. And that's fair.
How helpful is it to have? I know this has been kind of an awkward transition from Jacoby to Deshaun, but how much does it help to have a guy who's just played 11 games and has seen so much and is kind of as equipped to play as anybody right now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I really feel good about the room. I think we obviously the job that Jacoby did for us. Can't say enough great things about him. One is his quarterback play, but just the leadership he showed. Throughout his time as a starter, his work ethic, his love for his teammates is really fun to watch. So really be remiss without giving him some credit. He did a great job for us. But to have him in that room still knows that we feel really good about where we sit in there.
Alex, we just, again, talking to Deshaun, he was asked about what he saw in the first 11 games, and he said it was a very quarterback-driven offense, but he gave us a line about, as far as Kevin Stefanski, follow the rules, get the ball to the playmakers. Would you say that's kind of a fair assessment of what you guys are trying to do here?
Oh, absolutely. I think we do some good things on offense. Don't want to lose that. Getting the ball in our playmakers' hands. Deshaun being one of those now. So finding ways to utilize the talent that's available, I think, is what we've always strived for, and put those players in the best position to be successful.
You heard from a lot of players this week, offense and defense, that Deshaun's accuracy is kind of what they're most, not want to say surprised, but they noticed the most. Have you seen the same, and is there something that you see amongst really accurate quarterbacks? Footwork, shoulders, or something that they
for me as a quarterback analyst and all the work you do in the offseason watching these guys, for me it's a steady head. A guy that throws around his body, doesn't have a lot of head movement, those guys generally are accurate passers, and he is that.
Can you even begin, I guess, to imagine the possibilities in the run game for you guys, given the running backs room you have, and then Deshaun's obviously ability there as well now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it opens up some more options for us, and hopefully we'll be tough to defend. To have, with him having the ability to make some of those runs, when they're chasing down the backside, things like that. Hopefully it'll open up some more space in the run game.
It was when the Browns visited with Watson back in March, and it was reported that Deshaun asked Kevin, "What do I need to work on?" You see, Kevin reportedly said, "Sell him the play fake a little better." Do you see? How would you assess his ability to do that? Because he didn't do it much in Houston.
Right. That's how we roll. That's our offense. We're a run action, play action, keepers off the run game. So he bought in as soon as he started practicing with us. He obviously saw the importance and what a great job Jacoby did in his play action, run action game. So that's expected from any quarterback that gets under center for us.
Good at it?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just it's like anything. If you emphasize it, you'll get results, and we obviously emphasize it here from the quarterback room. And he can be as good as anybody at it.
Do you anticipate more deep balls with him at quarterback?
Yeah, that's a possibility. He has the arm strength to definitely stretch the field. Will we call more deep balls? I'm not sure, but will more balls be thrown deep? Possibly. But he definitely has the ability and the accuracy down the field.
Yesterday was his first day fully back with the starters. Was there any big adjustment period? How did he fit in that first day?
Great. Operated well in the huddle, I thought. Really did a good job at the line of scrimmage. His cadence was clean. We were really clean from an operational standpoint yesterday, and expect that to continue. Now, the guys do have to get used to a little bit of a different cadence. That's just part of any quarterback, new quarterback that comes in. But they've done a great job this week of working with him. He has also done a great job of trying to sound as much as like Jacoby. You always wanted to keep that rhythm and the cadence rhythmic and feel the same up front. So that's something we've worked on this week.
How about his passes? I know Murray said he throws a real catchable ball.
But while we were out there yesterday, it looked like some were going off guys' hands. Like, his ball come in harder or faster than the guys will have to get used to?
Yeah, I think he's probably a little more.
I'm back here.
Than Jacoby. I think they're both throw very catchable balls. It's just a matter of getting used to that tempo of the ball coming out of his hand.
You're up.
All right, there's your offensive coordinator, AVP. And now for the matchup specifics, we go to the good Dr. Z.
All right, baby, let's go. This should be a good week for the Browns offense with Deshaun Watson, a nice place to make your first start. You're going against the 29th ranked total defense, the 23rd scoring defense, dead last against the rush. I'll say it again, dead last against the rush, dead last in terms of giving up big plays, 24th in yards per play as well. So this is a matchup for us that feels very favorable. What are they going to do schematically? Well, they're going to play more cover 2 than any team in the league. It's Lovie Smith, trained in the Tampa 2 days, but they still will have the middle of field closed, so that's a single high safety more often, but they still play the most cover 2 in the NFL. They don't blitz a lot, but they run a lot of stunts and games, and when they do blitz, it comes from the linebacking position. Rarely will they blitz a corner, but they will do that, but the majority of the blitzes are from the linebacker position. 4-man front all the time, not a multiple front team. 36% base defense, 64% nickel, and that's just kind of how they roll. They do not do a good job against running backs. Running backs, not their rush defense. They are last in the league in rush defense, but against running backs, they are dead last. 145 yards and 1.3 touchdowns per game, 5.2 yards per carry. They've already allowed running backs to rush for 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns through, 11 games? That feels like a lot.
That's a lot.
Derrick Henry, just for comparison, ran for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns against them in Week 8. They've allowed 5 100-yard rushers this season. All 5 have rushed for more than 140 yards. Yeesh. So there's been nobody between 99 and 140. There have been 5 north of 140, including over 200 there. So you could run the ball on them. Nick Chubb, when he has 100 yards this season, 6 times. The Browns are 4-2 for his career. 28 career games of over 100 yards rushing. They are 20-8. Quarterbacks, they've allowed 3 300-yard passers, including 2 last week, 3 games with multiple passing touchdowns, including 2 of the last 4. They do not have an interception as a defense in 4 straight games. They won't have their very talented first-round pick, Derek Stingley Jr., will not be available. At least that's the word right now. He's missed the last 2 with a hamstring injury. The Browns obviously are going to lean on Nick Chubb. They have played here for the defense of the Houston Texans 2,070 rookie snaps so far on their defense this year. That's second most in the NFL. Their safety, Jonathan Owens, has 92 tackles, leads the team. That is the most by any defensive back in the NFL. Never a great thing for your team. Jerry Hughes, 8 sacks. He leads the team, 11th in the NFL. He's had 10 sacks twice in his career, 2014, 2015. And those who can remember well enough, in 2013 he had 1.5 sacks against the Browns as a member of the Buffalo Bills. 2014 he had a scoop and score fumble recovery, which was certainly hurtful to our chances. You hope to have David Njoku out there. We'll see. Last week, the Miami tight end scored a touchdown against them. Dallas Goedert reached 100 yards against them, but he's battling that knee injury there. But this is a favorable matchup. It's what you want. Last year, in case you're wondering, Nick Chubb, 11 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged 8.6 a pop. Kareem Hunt, 13 carries, 51 yards rushing in that one as they combined for 146 between the two of them. So not a great defense, not dynamic. A lot of kind of veterans that have been kind of piecemealed together. They do have the great Kirko. He's got 79 tackles, on pace for his 3rd 100-tackle season of his career. Their corners, Steven Nelson and Desmond King, are actually playing pretty well. The safeties, though, Jonathan Owens, Jalen Petrie, have been putrid in coverage this year. But we might get to see our good friend MJ Stewart. Might get to see our good friend Tavier Thomas. He's playing the nickel now with Derek Stingley out. He's actually played pretty well the last 2 weeks. And Eric Murray, a former Brown as well. So lots of former Browns on this roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But they're not great. Not a great defense, and the Browns should be able to exploit them, I would say, in many, many different facets.
A lot of Browns daily regulars. You just went through there in that last group.
That's right. A lot of CBD.
I feel like we
regulars.
had Eric Murray in here a couple times. Certainly. Kirko was a staple.
Kirko's a
obviously.
staple. MJ Stewart was
MJ
good.
was in the mix.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, there you go. What is your best slightly educated guess on what this offense will look like and what will be the biggest differences that we see from Brissett to Watson?
It's going to look the same. It's going to be the same offense. You're going to see Deshaun Watson under center a lot more than you ever have before in his career, and he likes that. The difference is going to become in that we're going to be able to do more read option and RPO games. So I've been talking about there's one play, and it was making the rounds on the internet, of where we did shotgun. On the right hip was Kareem, kind of a read option look, but really just a handoff to sweep across, and the backside end was Carl Nassib, just ran right down the line, made the tackle. Now, if he does that, Deshaun will keep it in 30 yards. Now, Jacoby could have, and in fact, there were times where they gave him the option to do that. But Deshaun, I think it's much more natural for him. He's run the read option a lot, and then we'll have, RPOs where you can call a play, and he has the choice to hand it off, keep it himself, or throw it. And so there's just going to be a lot more of that kind of variation. I do think he will attack vertically more than perhaps Jacoby Brissett did. He's not afraid to squeeze it in there. The ball, his arm strength is better. But it's going to be the same offense. We are who we are.
Yeah.
Now you just are more dangerous, and I think we'll see. I think, and Coach Stefanski alluded to this a little bit, is that you'll see more zone coverage on third downs, and perhaps more if there's a man with a spy because of his ability to extend plays. We've seen Jacoby get where they play what they call cover 5. Some people call it cover 5. Other people call it two-man, where you've got 2 deep safeties and then 5 across, a man underneath. There's nobody to account for a quarterback in that. So that's where Jacoby's gotten some of his big runs, is where you see him run and there's nobody even looking at him. We're not going to get much of that look, I think, going forward.
He is probably he's probably during his time at Clemson, probably the best RPO quarterback I've ever seen in college football. That's how good he was at Clemson. It's pretty staggering. He didn't win a Heisman. It was just weird timing. And he was a finalist twice. I voted for him for sure once and maybe twice. But he was just sensational. But that RPO game that you're talking about, he was the very best at what he would do a lot is he would ride that handoff, and then at the very last second you would see him hit a receiver as he was coming to the line, and it's a handful because he's ultra fast. He's got a strong arm, and he can do everything. So it's something that we've never seen that in our offense to the level, in the vicinity to the level it's going to be able to be run by him.
No,
it's a whole new ball game for people.
Yeah,
and the threat is real.
Quite real, and that's I think that's gonna open things up for Nick Chubb, and I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are gonna find things much easier than they have been in the past for them.
Yeah. Going to be interesting to see. There's a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns with the help of your favorite four-legged companion, Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. Speaking of Deshaun Watson, he is at the podium, and we'll hear him coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the official printer partner of the Cleveland Browns. Whether you depend on the Browns to win, you can always depend on OBM. They tackle any size office. The number is 216-485-2000 or ohiobusinessmachines.com. And now let's go to the podium and our quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
First off,
you're down.
I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be back around my teammates. I also want to thank the Browns organization, the ownership, my teammates in that locker room, all the coaching staff for all the support that they had for me, especially my time away. Also want to thank all my trainers, all my personal trainers outside when I was going away who helped me stay in shape, grind to put in the work so I'm prepared when I come back. Thank also T3 performance trainers who was out there throwing with me with my time away. Also want to thank all the Cleveland fans in the city of Cleveland for, embracing me, but also helping me adapt to the community. It's been awesome. It's been great, being out, going to dinner and social places, being able to hang out with some of the fans and interact with them. And I also just want to thank just everyone that's, been sending out some positive energy towards my way. But I understand that you guys have, a lot of questions. But with my legal team and my clinical team, there's only football questions that I can really address at this time. And I also want to thank, most importantly, Jacoby, the big brother he's been to me and everyone in that locker room. The passion, the grit, the leadership he has shown these past weeks. Everyone has seen it. I mean, he's the ultimate guy that everyone wants to, follow. So he's been awesome for me. Our relationship has been great. The bond has been great, and we're going to continue to grow from there and help win some more football games for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm open to answer any football questions.
Sean, part of your agreement with the league was to undergo counseling and therapy while you were away. What did you learn about yourself during that time, and how do you apply that to now moving forward?
I respect your question. I understand, but that's more in that phase of clinical and legal stuff, and I've been advised to stay away from that and keep that personal.
John, how do you feel about playing the first game in Houston?
I'm excited. I'm excited to just play football in general in front of Cleveland Browns fans, but also in front of some of the Houston Texans fans. I respect the whole organization of the Houston Texans. I respect the McNair family. I respect everyone that was there that drafted me in 2017. There's been great memories, fun memories. I still have a home in Houston. I still have friends and family that's still in Houston. The relationships are still there. Some of the players on the team, I played with are seen, come up from, maybe practice squad or from injuries. So, I'm excited to get in front of all those fans. I have so much love for the city of Houston and H-Town, and everyone in that city pretty much knows that. So I'm excited to do that. But, the most important thing is, I'm excited to be in front of the Cleveland Browns fans for sure.
Oh, okay. This is a football question. It also ties into some of the other stuff. It's football related. So what do you say to fans who might still believe, after all that's happened, that Deshaun Watson should not be the face of an NFL franchise? What do you say to those folks?
Like I said, I'm focusing on football. That's my main focus is football and preparing to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns so I can execute the game plan to try to get a win this Sunday.
Deshaun, was it important to you to come back to this Texans game when you agreed to that settlement?
No, I was just trying to, whatever I can do to play football in 2022. So, most of the settlement stuff with the NFL was mostly my agency and legal team. I had no control. My main focus was doing everything I need to do so I can play this year.
What do you think the reaction or atmosphere would be like?
I'm not sure. My main focus is locked in on the game plan and trying to execute and make sure that I'm keeping the standard for the Cleveland Browns so we can try to win.
In terms of way you've been able to do meetings over the back here, to get some practice in, and you were training like the way too. Is there a part of your game that was a focus for you, wanting to step it up, get right when you get back here?
I think my biggest focus was the mental part of the game. Staying locked in on defensive schemes, staying locked in also as much as I can with the scheme that we have here with the Cleveland Browns and with Kevin. So trying to watch from afar and learn and see what Jacoby is seeing on the field during every Sunday. I watched every game like I was preparing myself to play. I kind of knew exactly what was going on. I wasn't in those meetings early on in the year, but once I was able to be in those meetings, I was basically preparing like I was a starter that week, asking Jacoby questions, what he see, and the different things that he experienced during the game. So I think that was very, very helpful.
Trying to follow up on Scott's question about the atmosphere going into it. I know it's going to be a week of your accusers there. I think people are expecting it to be hostile. Just how do you think mentally you're going to grapple with that on Sunday?
Like I said, I'm focusing on just being the starting quarterback and executing the game plan. That's my main focus. I'm not, worried about the atmosphere. I got to go in and make sure I execute the game plan.
Deshaun, on August 18th, you said that you wanted to tell your side of the story at some point, and that people haven't been interested in listening to what you have to say. So at some point, will you take non-football questions down the line?
Like I said, at this time, I can't address any of that stuff. Who knows what the future holds, but right now I'm so locked in on just basically being the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Deshaun, it's a long layoff for you in terms of playing, so what do you think needs to happen to knock the rust off? What do you want to happen? What are you prepared for? Some guys like to get hit early.
Right.
I mean, just what do you think knocks that rust off?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't. This is my first time having time off, so my biggest focus is just going out there and just really whatever Kevin calls, make sure I'm executing, taking it one play at a time, and let the game come to me, not pressing or anything like that.
Hey, Deshaun, what can you add to the offense to make this more explosive?
I just really try to make as many plays as I can. If that's with my feet, with my arm, that's, handing the ball off to 24, 27, whatever I need to do to, try to make this offense continue to do what they're doing. Jacoby, like I said before, Jacoby's have, I think our offense is in the top 5 in pretty much every category. So, I got to hold up to that standard and do everything I can. Don't try to do anything special. Just try to let the game come to me and execute whatever needs to be for the quarterback.
Deshaun, at 4-7, this season is kind of on the brink for this team. Having missed 11 games, do you feel any particular responsibility to put them over the top if you can?
I think my biggest responsibility is just, like I said before, is just keep iterating, just doing what the scheme allows me to do. And that's, executing the game plan, getting the ball to the playmakers' hands, and just try to win, try to pick points, more points than the other opponent. And if I continue to do that, we can't focus on the next game. We can't focus on 2 games, 3 games down the road. We have to worry about being 1-0 this week and focus on that.
During your time away from the building, I know you've been back a few weeks now, but what was most important for you to kind of stay in football shape when it's been so long since you last played a regular season game?
Like I said, mostly it's the mental part of the game, just staying adapted and adjusting to different schemes that defense and coordinators are trying to do for not just for our scheme and our system, but for everybody. I watched everybody. I watched a lot of different quarterbacks. I watched Mahomes. I watched Tua. I watched all these guys that's playing every Sunday. I try to learn from everyone. I'm not the guy that kind of interchain just for myself. I like to watch other quarterbacks, and I'm a fan of a lot of different quarterbacks around the league. I have so much respect for everyone. So my game is I want everyone to succeed, so I can be able to learn from them and apply it to my game.
Just a quick follow-up, like physically, what was most important?
Oh, physically, sorry. Physically, just really, like I said, staying in shape, running, throwing the ball as much as I can, making sure my arm is in shape to throw however many footballs I need to throw on Sunday. Lifting weights, that's pretty much just constantly working out.
Deshaun, you got those 3 series in Jacksonville in the preseason. What can you take from that opportunity that you can use now as you get ready for a regular season? How different was that compared to a regular season?
Our biggest plan for that 3 series was just operational. Hearing Kevin in the headset, being able to adapt to how he's calling plays, how different personnel groupings are coming in. That was our biggest thing. Not so much of trying to do the what it is for a game plan. We didn't it's still preseason. We're still trying to figure out who we are as an offense. And so my first time hearing Kevin in the headset, that's what we wanted to do. I think it was maybe 9 to 10 plays. So of course we wanted to be more successful, but at that time that's something that we can learn, and that's why it's called preseason.
Deshaun, when watching this every Sunday through the first 11 games, what struck you most about the team to be playing away on the field now?
It's exciting. You can see it on Sundays that they play with a high motor. Everyone is playing together. It's one unit. And, I've also got to, go through spring and training camp with them. So I kind of knew how the locker room and how those guys was going to play. But watching them on Sunday, the game is never over. and those guys are going to continue to play to the final whistle. And I'm excited to be able to try to, bring that and prove that energy as much as I can with those guys also. So,
Sean, at the time away, make you more appreciate who you are and what you have?
I'm always appreciative. I'm always thankful for what I have. My mom went through tongue cancer when I was 14 years old, and she never smoked a day in her life. So I've always been appreciative. I grew up with pretty much nothing, if you know my background story. So everything that, every step I make each and every day, every time I wake up, I thank the Lord, because I'm a God-fearing man, and I know who my Lord and Savior is. So that's my main focus each and every day when I wake up. I give him thanks. And I thank everyone around me that helped me get to this moment, because I didn't do it by myself.
Deshaun, you thanked in your introductory press conference. You thanked the Browns organization for believing in you as a person and trusting in the type of player you were. How close do you feel like the Deshaun that we saw a couple years ago on the football field?
We'll have to see Sunday, honestly. Like I said, I don't want to, it might take time, it might not take time. I just want to go out there and do what I want to do, make plays as much as I possibly can. 2 years is definitely a long time, but at the same time, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. So, just like, riding a bike, I want to go out there and just find the pedals, get my, transition going, and then just let everything kind of come to me. Don't press it. Don't try to make anything bigger than what it really is.
Hey, Deshaun, I know we're in this system throughout training camp in the offseason, but watching for the last 11 weeks, have you learned anything about this Kevin's system and how you fit into it?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is it's definitely a quarterback-driven system. And, we have guys around the quarterback that can make plays. So you don't have to do anything special. Just follow the rules that he wants you to follow, get the ball in the playmaker's hands, and let them do work. The O-line has been doing a heck of a job of supporting and protecting the quarterback as much as possible, open up the run game for Nick Chubb. I think he third or second in the lead in rushing. For a while, he was number one. So, it's a great system to be in. I'm happy to be in it, and I'm just continue each and every day to learn as much as I can and just continue to grow as not just for the system, but as a quarterback and as a leader.
Deshaun, your teammates' defense and offense said your accuracy is probably your best attribute. Would you agree with that? And is there something that, there's something you do different maybe that makes you so accurate?
My biggest thing is really just try to anticipate the throws, knowing where guys are going to be, and knowing how the defense is going to play each and every route. If I can minimize that and try to, get down the detail of how those things are going to do in certain situations, then I can place the ball where I need to be, where it needs to be for the receiver to make the catch. I think that's the biggest thing. I've always been trying to adapt to that, and I know that is timing and just repetition and film work. So I just try to, watch film with those guys. Watch film with those guys all week so they can see exactly what I'm seeing.
Are you getting some of that down? I know it's
limited, yes, sir.
But you're gonna know.
Yes, sir.
Just to go off of something you said with playing with Nick, I mean, there's been a lot of speculation that with you as quarterback and your abilities that this run game could really open up. I guess just what's it been like? What do you see in that regards with having Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt on this team, and do you think there's some opportunities there for all of you?
Oh, yeah, I think it's some big opportunities for both of us, and they do a good job of feeding off each other, and, it's going to help us overall in the offense. Being balanced, being able to pass the ball, being able to run the ball is awesome. And I've been watching Nick since high school, so me and him came out together, and I've been watching him since high school, college. So it's been a long time, for me, and now I have an opportunity for me to play with him for the first time. It's super fun. And then you have Kareem, who's, just being in a huddle with him, he just makes everybody more comfortable and more relaxed, because that's just who he is. He, of course, he takes the game serious, but, just the way he approaches and he carries himself, it helps all of us in the huddle, and he's a playmaker who can do it all, too.
Deshaun, you've been back in, on practice for the last couple of weeks. How have you been able to, what work have you done to kind of get on the same
1 minute
as like Amari and Donovan and the other skilled players on the team?
My biggest thing when I first got back in the building is hearing how Jacoby talked to him. And hearing how they watch film, hearing how, Amari and DPJ and D-Bell and all the other receivers and tight ends talk to Jacoby what they're seeing. And then whenever my opportunity came for this week to, step into that starting role, you know, I didn't want to really change anything too much. So me and Seven, Jacoby, you know, talk with those guys. We watch tape after practice. You know, they're seeing what I'm seeing. I'm able to stand up in the meetings and see, let them know what I see. And if they have anything, they see anything differently, then, you know, let's be able to have that communication.
Come back.
Where we can talk and adapt and not be so much of, you know, robots in the system. So, and it's awesome for Kevin and AVP to be able to allow that for the players to do that. So,
you're up.
Well, there you go. 15 minutes of Deshaun at the podium there, and you'll get to see him play on Sunday.
Yep.
It's been 700 days since he's played in a game, thereabouts.
It will be
by the time you get there. Exactly. Was it really?
Yeah.
700 on the money. Wow. It's be 700 exactly by the time you get to it on Sunday. The last time we saw him, he was brilliant. It's just been a really long time. We saw him in the preseason game, of course. That was a little bit rusty, but in terms of the last time you saw him in a regular season game, it was pretty sublime, my friend.
Yeah, January 3rd, 2021 against the Titans, 28-39, 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 116 rating. And you go back and you think about the fact in 2020, 70% completions, leads the NFL with 4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, 112.4 rating. Also led the NFL that year in yards per attempt at 8.9, led the NFL in yards per completion at 12.6. When you look for his career, and by the way, that's the only season in NFL history in which a quarterback has completed more than 70% of their passes, thrown for more than 4,500 yards, and had fewer than 10 interceptions in a single season. If you look where he's historically for his career numbers, best completion percentage in NFL history, minimum of 1,500 attempts, 68%. Second best quarterback rating in NFL history at 104.5. 8.3 yards per attempt, third best in NFL history, and by far the best in the modern era because he trails only the great Otto Graham and Sid Luckman.
Jeez.
So it's been a while since they've
It
tossed
has.
the pigskin around.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So he's great, and then you think about, we talk about with his legs, 3 straight seasons of more than 400 yards rushing, averages 5 rushing touchdowns a season as well. And in this offense, look, Jacoby Brissett, 238 yards rushing already this year. That was a career high for him.
Mm-hmm.
He never rushed for more yards in a single season, even the one where he started the full year in Indianapolis. So he's going to get opportunities. He is elite. That compact motion, the stress he puts on a defense, he's obviously good. That's why you went through a lot of the things that have been gone through to get him to be able to play football for your football team. And now that moment has arrived.
Couple of things on him. He's never played with backfield mates like these.
Nope.
He's never played behind an offensive line like this.
Also nope.
Now, he played with some incredibly talented receiver groups. DeAndre Hopkins at his best certainly would suffice to say on that. But on those two fronts, hasn't. It was Bill O'Brien calling the offensive ball primarily for him when he was in Houston. I don't know that anyone would I respect the hell out of him for what he did at Penn State, but I don't know that anyone would describe him as an offensive genius. And that has been something that's been said about our guy. So in terms of the position,
we're the number 5
succeed,
offense in the NFL.
That's
right now.
The position that he's going to be put in here is the best one he's been put in probably since his time at Clemson when he was playing on those ultra talented teams. I also think one other thing about him, I think that because he played in Houston, and it's an expansion team, it is a new franchise that almost feels like a generic franchise a little bit.
Yep.
It feels like the only people who like the Houston Texans are people from Houston. And even them probably yearn for the Oilers a little bit from time to time. And if you asked them, they'd probably rather have that branding. I think sometimes people forget, as you were going through those stats, I think people forget what he was. I don't know that he was given the attention that probably was warranted based on the statistical accumulation and the success that he had on the field, in part because of where he played.
Yeah, and
that's weird because it's a top 5 market size-wise, but it's not a top 5 brand in the league. It's not. I would say it's one of the bottom 5 brands.
Oh yeah, and you go from Clemson and end up there. It's just a big change in terms of your profile, what you're able to do, all of those things. I think you're exactly right about that. There's no doubt in my mind. In fact,
I think if you ask anybody who follows college football closely over the last 20 years, you can make a very strong argument that Deshaun Watson is the best or most important college football player, or as important as any, over the last 15 or 20 years. That's what he did at Clemson in elevating that program. So he'll play for us on Sunday, and it is going to be fun to see. On the other side, the matchup for us, we're coming off of a very good defensive performance. Can we stack them? We will get into that. We have Guess the Spread coming up at around 2:15-ish. We will get to that. And, of course, the General joins us. John McClain on the program today as well, plus a Thursday night edition of The Scores. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And when a medical mistake causes you injury, call the medical malpractice attorneys at 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now the other side of the matchup, our defense, rejuvenated last week, taking on a Texans offense that leaves a lot to be desired. Here's Joe Woods at the podium.
Joe, what did you think was
You're down.
last week and the better performance from the run game?
Yeah, I think we had a good plan. I think throughout the week we repped different type of runs we thought we were going to get. I felt the guys were confident. I think we really played hard. Our gap security, integrity was better, and I think we tackled well.
It's a little frustrating, Joe, to have a game like to the point of you guys can do it. You know how the players, the scheme works, the play calls, all that. Is it frustrating to see it on the field a little bit and go, why haven't we doing it all the time?
You wonder that, and really with each game, it could be 2 or 3 plays that make the difference. You know, whether you go back to Buffalo or any game, you make 2 or 3 plays at any point during the game, and it's different. And we made some mistakes. You know, we made some similar mistakes we made in other games, but we just found a way to overcome it.
How about Pierce, right? He's of the Houston runner. How do you handle him?
Man, he's good. He's a good back. I haven't seen him, but just watching tape, I have a lot of respect for how he plays. He's a physical back. He's downhill. He has quickness. I think he's second in the NFL in broken tackles, 4th in yards after contact, 9th in rush yards per game. But he is a handful, and you're going to need multiple guys to tackle him.
The fact that Miles was able to do what he did at the end of that game despite taking that big hit on the left shoulder, what did that show you about him?
He's our leader on defense, and whatever it took, he was going to find a way, to help us get a win. I talked to him after the game, and it's like, how you doing? Not good, but I'll be all right. But he is our leader, and it was great to see him make those plays at the end.
And then there was a play, I think you mentioned it after the game, where I know he gets held a lot, but this one looked really bad, where he's kind of, taken down the ground.
Just used to it. It's just going to happen. They're not all going to get called. That's just the nature of the game, and he knows that.
I know it's a team thing, but how big is it for you when you see guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah or Alex Wright making really big, impactful plays in a game that they hope to carry over into the next games?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what we want to see. We have some talented, young players, and they're getting better every week. And you can feel them getting closer and coming together. So when you see those guys make those plays and you see them celebrate, you just see that our youth is developing and getting better.
What have you seen your defense with Deshaun Watson returning this week? Have you seen maybe a little uptick in energy?
I don't know. I mean, we're so focused on what we do. Obviously he's back, and he's been on the practice field. So I couldn't answer that for the players. I'm excited he's back, for him. But we got to go out and handle our business.
What do you like about Sione being in the middle?
Sione's a take charge type of guy. And our middle linebacker, he's the quarterback of the defense. So just to have him stand in front of the huddle and be the, center point or centerpiece of our defense is good. I think it gives guys confidence. And I think with his ability to play the run and his athletic ability, to get, in zone to match up and do the things we need to do, I think it's been a benefit for us. And I think you guys all see his playmaking ability.
He was on the strong side for you guys for the first couple of years. Was there a reason he never got a shot in the middle because he played middle?
Coming back here.
I'm not sure, but just based on, the guys we had at the position and what we asked our weak side linebacker to do, he was a perfect fit for that. But as you can see, he's capable of playing multiple positions, and that's a benefit for us.
You're up.
All right, there's your defensive coordinator, Joe Woods. His unit had a good week last week. Let's take a look at that defense versus the Texans offense, brought to you by Evolve Technology. Evolve Technology powers best-in-class security for your Cleveland Browns. And for the matchup, specifics, Dr. Z.
Well, if you're a defense, you got to be excited about a team coming to town. Well, you're going to their town. That you're facing on the field that is last in total offense, 31st in scoring offense, 29th in rushing offense, 27th in passing offense, 31st on third downs. They give up the 6th most sacks in the league. They have the 5th most turnovers in the league. They are 30th in the red zone, 26th on big plays, 30th in yards per play. So their best offensive ranking is to be the 6th worst in the league at something. That's their best offensive ranking. So they made a quarterback switch last week. Kyle Allen takes over 7-11 all-time as a starter. That was his first start of the season. He went 26 of 39 for 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a rating of 67.8. He was sacked 5 times, fumbled twice, lost none of them. Career stats, 63% passer, 25 touchdowns, 19 picks, 84 rating. He has been sacked, though, for his career nearly once for every 10 attempts, one of the highest rates in the league. They brought him in because Davis Mills was leading the league with 11 interceptions and 14 giveaways. Kyle Allen had 2 picks in that game, so you can extrapolate and say that that's a worse pace there. But Kyle Allen will say, I have faced Deshaun Watson once, and I have beaten him. Kyle Allen is starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers in 2019, Week 4. Beat the Texans 16-10 in that one. But this is not a team that throws the ball very well. They're led by Brandon Cooks. He, of course, has 6 1,000-yard seasons in his career, including back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with the Texans. This year, though, numbers are down. 44 catches, 520 yards, just 1 touchdown. No touchdown in 6 straight games. Does not have a 100-yard game this year. Nico Collins, teammate of Donovan Peoples-Jones, second on the team, 34 catches, 446 yards, 1 touchdown. He needs 1 yard for a new career high. Donovan Peoples-Jones, by the way, needs 5 yards for a new career high. So those Michigan teammates feels like we'll set new career highs in this game. Chris Moore, 24 catches, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's the 3rd leading receiver on the team at the wide receiver position. And then there's Jordan Akins, who's 21 catches, 300 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 300 yards puts him 3rd on the team. He's averaging 14.3 yards a catch, career high. That's actually 3rd best among all tight ends. Their line is awful, other than Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil's a multiple-time Pro Bowler. Pro Football Focus' number 7 tackle, the number 1 pass-blocking tackle at Pro Football Focus. Kenyon Green, their rookie first-round pick out of Texas A&M, is currently the 85th ranked guard out of 89. Their center, Scott Quisenberry, is currently the 40th ranked center out of 41. A.J. Cann has given up a team-high 5 sacks. So from left guard to right guard, they have given up 16 sacks through the interior 3 on the team, which is stunning. Titus Howard, the right tackle, not bad in his own right. He's given up 1 sack on 26 pressures this year. Their running back, though, he's a stud. Dameon Pierce, you've heard everybody talk about him, 4th rounder. He was actually picked with one of the picks we sent them in the Deshaun Watson trade.
There you go.
He's got on the season 788 yards rushing, 9th in the NFL, leads all rookies. He leads the NFL in broken tackles with 28. He's been really good. He can run around you. He can make you miss. He can run you over. He's got 426 yards after contact. That's 5th. Chubb is 3rd for comparison's sake, 463. He is 2nd in Pro Football Focus's elusive rating. Nick Chubb, of course, is 1st. But the last 2 weeks, he's been held to exactly 8 yards in each of the 2 games. First 10 weeks of the season, he averaged 86 yards per game, 6th in the NFL. He had 5 games with 90 or more yards, 2 games with 100 yards. He is a very impressive guy, and that's who the Browns need to make sure that they stop in this one.
Whether you're buying or selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, they're going to have you covered. A winning strategy certainly is there for you. If you plan to make a move this season, they've got you covered. At Howard Hanna, every day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/GoBrowns today. We will attempt to guess the spread. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bath Authority gives you that bathroom of your dreams, folks, in about a day. You transform it. All of a sudden, you're in a spa-like experience. Bath Authority can do it for you. They make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. They can do so in about a day. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler, experts and factory trained. You give them a call now at 216-220-8399. You get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. Go to bathauthority.com for details. It's where affordability meets quality. It's the largest selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding again in about a day. Superior products with expert installers at thebathauthority.com. 216-220-8399 on that. Time for a little segment we like to call Guess the Spread.
Oh, baby, I'm on a heater. I don't know if I can keep it going. Gibby wants to see me fail.
Just keep yelling into the microphone.
Overall, he comes ultra troll you in this segment. This is his most trolling of you. Yeah, he really comes at you here.
My Nana had a comment about that.
I wanted to get it going early today by getting his head early with his little B moment in segment 1.
Then you went at him there.
Yep.
Right. Go for that.
Yeah, let's get it going now.
Gibby,
I want to bring it down.
Gibby is shameless, saying that you're due for a failure. I said, I know. Isn't it hurtful? And she said, it's certainly invading your ecosystem. And as your mother, I'm deeply concerned about how you were treated. It invaded mine, too. You're invading my mom's ecosystem, Gibby, with your negativity. So,
Nana, I don't want any part of the ecosystem.
Kindly leave on the ecosystem talk.
You're safe. You're safe.
All right, here we go.
Now your son, I own it.
You don't own me. I'm on fire.
It's. I would say at this point you're an even Steven through the time we've been doing this, which is pretty good.
I might
slightly
be maybe a game or two over 500.
You're right in the mix. Give or take a game here or there. I haven't been keeping track of this like we do everything else.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
But we're on a real. I had like a 10
last 2 weeks.
I had a 10-4 though. I was never a 4-10.
No, you definitely were a 6-10.
Yeah, you definitely
10,
had some
though.
losing
There
records.
were some of those early.
Yeah, 100%.
But you've been on a heater.
Why don't you calm down, Gibby?
Just warming up.
Buffalo tonight at New England. Buffalo at New England.
Buffalo minus 5.
What's within the margin? 1.
1.
I'm so sorry.
What is it?
Minus 3.5.
Wow, normally you're really good at the start. Oh my goodness. Look at where this is going.
Keep your head up.
Already.
Keep your head up. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Pittsburgh at Atlanta.
My mind is blank. It's a complete
Pittsburgh
empty space.
At Atlanta.
Pittsburgh minus 1.
Got it.
In your face. Wow. And
Packers
500
at Bears. Packers at Bears. Are you guys aware that if the Packers win this game, they will become the winningest franchise in NFL history? And are you then also aware, they're both tied at like 785 wins, something like that. If that happens, it will be the first time in NFL history that somebody other than the Bears has been the winningest franchise in NFL history.
On the Bears. Yep. Okay.
Think about that. The entire history of the league, the Bears have been the winningest franchise until the Packers win in Chicago this weekend.
Like, do we know who's playing quarterback for either team?
We don't. I think the feeling is that Rodgers is playing for the
going to
Packers.
play.
Yeah.
Green Bay minus 3.
Green Bay minus 4.5. Jacksonville at
That's
Denver.
1.5 twice already.
Jacksonville at Detroit. At Detroit.
this.
I'm sorry, at Detroit. Jacksonville at Detroit. Looking for Jacksonville.
I feel like lost.
at
I'm
Detroit.
lost.
You're all right. Keep your head up. Confidence.
I love this.
Trust your gut. Ignore
Jacksonville.
him.
Jacksonville minus 2.
Got it. Jacksonville minus 1. Jets at Vikings. Jets at Vikings.
Jets at Vikings.
That's right.
Vikings minus 4.
Got it. Vikings minus 3. Washington.
So where are we at? We're at 3 and 2.
3 and 2. Washington at the Giants. At the
Long way to go.
G-Man.
Long way to go.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Giants. Not as big as you think. Giants minus 1.5.
That'd be incorrect. Washington minus 2.5.
God, they do not like them.
They do not like the Giants. Tennessee at Philly.
Back to 500.
Tennessee at Philly.
This feels like Philly minus 4.5.
Nailed it. On it. Exactly.
Exactly?
Exactly. Denver at
Not according to mine. But that's fine.
Baltimore. Denver at Baltimore, gentlemen.
Baltimore.
There are no winners.
Baltimore. I need to get myself under 7, but also over 8. So Baltimore minus 7.5.
Got it. Baltimore minus 8.5.
Woo! So good thing I put that hook on there. I was thinking about
Luckily,
7.
You're above 500.
We're 2 over 500 right now. 5 and 3.
Yeah, you are. Cleveland at Houston. Browns at Texans.
Browns by a tutty. 7.
Nailed it. On it exactly. Seattle at Just Ram It. Seattle at Just Ram It.
Matt Stafford? We don't know.
I don't think so. Seems like McVay's saying no. Not sure it would matter.
Seattle minus in LA.
Yep.
Seattle minus 4.5.
That would be incorrect. Seattle minus 7.
Whoa.
7. I will tell you that it started at 4.5, though.
We have a ruling, please.
Like on Sunday, it was 4.5.
Okay.
Miami at San Francisco.
Yeah, I've ruled on it. You lost. You were wrong.
Wow.
Miami at San Francisco. This will be shades of the 84 Super Bowl.
38-16 Niners.
Yeah.
I think they'd call them even on a neutral field, home field 3. Niners, but I'm going to say maybe slightly less than that. Niners minus 2.5.
Should have went with your instinct. Niners minus 4.
What?
Oh, boy. Coming
Niners
back to earth here.
Minus 4.
It's the mentor versus the mentee. Should have gone with the mentor.
Minus 4.
For a team that hasn't lost?
Yeah, minus 4. They love the Niners. Love them. Kansas City at Cincinnati. Kansas City
these
at
are hard.
Cincinnati. Great games. The late afternoon windows are unbelievable.
These are hard, though. Kansas City at Cincinnati. Kansas City minus 2.
Nailed it. Exactly 2.
Really?
Yep.
All right, 7.
Chargers at Vegas. Looking for the Chargers at Vegas.
Chargers minus 1.
Got it. It's a pick'em. Indy, Annapolis at Dallas. Sunday night foosball. Odell's going there, isn't he? He's going to
I
Dallas.
think so. Gibbe says he's going to New York, though.
You think?
That's what Gibbe's people say.
He wants to play with Dan
Dallas.
Dimes again? Maybe go back to New York? I guess if he's trying to
He
save...
just wants to go to New York.
If he wants to save his, try and, rebuild the bridge with the Giants because that's his greatest moment, I don't think he can play for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So if he wants to act like he's a Giant for life or whatever, he could go to the Giants.
All right. I think I need to be slightly under 10, but also slightly over 10, so I'm going to go 10.5.
Exactly that.
In your face, dude. What do you have to say now? What do you have to say now?
Well,
that's
I'll
9
do-
and what are we at? 9 and
And you're
9
killing
and
it again.
5?
You're 9 and 5. It's unbelievable. This is an
How many
incredible
games left?
stretch. You got one left.
So it's our winner.
It's all
a
gravy.
winner. It's already a winner.
Saints.
Get out of my ecosystem.
Saints at Bucks.
Till next week. I'll be back.
I know you. So will I. Saints.
Saints at Bucks.
Bucks have to be favored. I'll say Bucks. They're not that good though. Bucks. Vegas likes the Saints a little bit. Bucks. God, I want to get 10. 3.5.
On it exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, now that he's out of his vehicle and his helmet's off,
Thank
let
you.
him know.
I'd like to thank my mom for giving me the confidence to stare down a bully in the face. Nana, Nana, out of my ecosystem.
wasn't bullying.
Out of my ecosystem.
I just
can't
don't
hear
have
you, and I
confidence
love
in
it.
you.
I've taken my earphones out. I'll see you guys later.
The next level is next. Good job. Good job out of you, buddy. Very, very
Well,
impressive.
look, I think we can't break yet.
Well, we can.
Well, you can, but
You can.
McLean doesn't join us till 2:30.
Well, he's out of the segment. Here's the one that I think there's a couple that are really interesting to me on these. I think Minnesota, only 3 at home against the Jets, is surprising to me.
Did I get that one? What did I
You
say?
did.
3.5?
I think you
4.
did. Yeah,
I said 4,
I think you said 4, and it's 3. Minnesota's point differential on the season is 5.
Low.
It's 5. There are 2 teams in the AFC who have lapped the field in point differential. It's Buffalo and Kansas City.
That's right.
Are the 2 that have. In the NFC, it is the Philly and Dallas that have lapped the field a little bit. But yeah, it's a narrow margin there for that one. Another one that I thought was surprising, and I understand why you got to do it, but Baltimore's going to win by 10.
Denver.
I mean,
stinks.
I know they suck, but like, doesn't that just scream 17-10? Their defense is pretty good.
Did I get that one?
You got it. I think you said 7.5, and it was 8.5.
8.5. 8.5 feels like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Niners line surprised me. The Washington being favored.
That
on
was
the
probably
road.
your biggest miss. Yeah.
Yeah. Biggest whiff.
Yeah, they don't like the Giants though, and they haven't for
They
a
haven't,
long,
and
long
I knew
time.
that.
Yeah.
Seattle -7. I don't think I got that one either. That felt like a big
That
number.
you did. It was 4.5, but it went all the way to 7.
Yeah.
So that's probably started at 4.5, thinking it was Stafford, and then now that it feels like it's not going to be Stafford, it got all the way to 7.
I also think it's weird, and I knew it was going to be a low number, but like Pukers at Atlanta, there's no love to Atlanta.
So here's what I think what's happened
bit.
though. This is what I think what's happening in the league. Other than Houston, there's two teams now who are chips are in. Houston, Chicago. So they're not going to win anymore. The Bears have lost 5 in a row. Houston's lost how many in a row?
6.
6? Okay.
All by a touchdown.
Yep. So 6-0. They've lost 6. Bears have lost 5. Those two teams are going to pick first and second in the draft. Now I think some teams, and I think Atlanta could be one of these teams. I think there's going to be some teams that are like, you know what? I think we'd love to pick third. And
They could still win their division though.
but they're not gonna.
And they're not
Right.
going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I think you got to be realistic about that.
And what's Pittsburgh not going to do? That.
Right.
Because it'll mean more to them to go 8-9 than it will for them to go than the benefit of them going 4-13. So Pittsburgh's effort will be there every single week. That's how they beat Indy last week. They'll have effort, big effort against Atlanta. Watt will play hard. Cam Hayward will play hard.
You're 100% right about that.
They're going. It's just that's going to be a big thing to watch going forward. That's like Detroit. Detroit's going to play hard because Dan Campbell's trying to save his job and build a culture. They're going to try and inch back towards 500. Just watch them. They get the Rams pick anyway, so why not?
I'm with you on that. They're going to play hard.
Yeah, they will. Browns fans, skip the chore of laundry. Enjoy life, not laundry. Tide Cleaners is offering 30% off dry cleaning for the month of November. Just mention promo code Browns. Visit TideCleaners.com to find the closest location nearest you. Some exclusions may apply. The General John McClain up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And Rumpke Waste Recycling is family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit Rumpke.com to learn more. Time to head out on the hotline behind enemy lines with columnist for GallerySports.com and Sports Radio 610. Certainly an icon in the business. The Texans' flagship, of course, he is the general. He is John McClain. He joins us on the Twisted Tea hotline. John, you paint the picture for us, buddy. You've been down there a long time. Deshaun comes back on Sunday. What's the town like in anticipation of this week, and kind of what's the feel?
People don't give a rat's you-know-what about Watson coming back here. The reason, and I know that people around the country find that hard to believe, no matter how much people try to stir it up and create interest, people are so down on the Texans right now because they're a pathetic excuse for a team, especially their offense. They've lost 6 in a row and averaged 13.2 points a game in the last 5. They just don't care. There's apathy. If this had been earlier in the season when they were actually competitive, there might be a little more interest. And it doesn't matter how many plaintiffs Tony Busby has in his suite or how much talk shows try to drum up the support here. There will be as many Browns fans in the stands as there are Texans fans. And I'm sure Texans fans will boo him, but there's one thing you got to be clear up in Cleveland. If the Browns win the toss and defer, and the Texans offense goes on the field and goes 3 and out, the boos you hear won't be for Watson coming on the field. It'll be for the Texans offense going off the field because it's as bad as I've ever seen in my 47 years covering the NFL.
John, and to that point, the first half of the last 2 games, they've been outscored 50-0. 4 first downs, 1 of 12 on third down. I saw your tweet where I got this information from that it is the most pathetic display of offense I think that you've ever seen. What's going on? I mean, Dameon Pierce, first 10 weeks, was dominant. He's been held to only 8 yards. It feels like they're turnover machines at quarterback, and the change didn't help much. What's going on with this team?
Let me go back to them the last year. Davis Mills, the last 5 games look really good. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, beat the Chargers, Jaguars, had 2 ratings of at least 128 in the last game that Tennessee had to win to secure home field advantage. Titans won 25-23. He threw for 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a rating of 128.5. So everybody thought he deserved another chance to be the starter. Nobody said he was a franchise quarterback. So Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator and play caller, was fired. He went to Tennessee. And then Pep Hamilton, who'd been the quarterback coach, was elevated to coordinator and play caller. And the only time he'd been a play caller and offensive coordinator in the NFL was with the Colts. And they fired him midway through the 2015 season. And Pep Hamilton's done a terrible job. The Davis Mills we saw is nothing compared to the Davis Mills we saw at the end of last year. And he didn't just get bad over the off season. This past game, they went to Kyle Allen. They were just as bad. They've had 37 yards in the first half of the last 2 games. 37. Now, they play better in the second half because teams play loose coverage not to give up a big play. And I make jokes during the game on Twitter. Texans lead the second half 15-0. Texans win another second half. And the fact is the offense is awful. There's a good chance Lovie Smith's going to be fired. That'd be 2 one-and-done coaches. A new guy would be the 5th in 4 years. But right now there's so much apathy and disillusionment on the part of the fans, they can't even get a good mad on for Deshaun Watson coming back.
Well, that's as you know, like that's probably the most terrifying word in professional sports is apathy in the home market. There's nothing worse than that. Anger's better than apathy. Apathy feels like the last step between that and irrelevance. So I guess big picture, and take the off-field stuff with Watson out of it. This is an organization that 5 years ago was one of the up-and-comers, and you think about Watson, Hopkins, Watt, all that other young talent that was on the roster, an operation that felt like it would be a contender for a while. When you think of parceling out blame, whose feet does it land on that they are where they are now?
First of all, in January of 2021, they beat Buffalo and Josh Allen here in a wild card game. Yep. Led Kansas City 24-0 in the divisional round at Arrowhead Stadium. then went straight down the toilet. The problem was when the McNair family made Bill O'Brien the general manager. He had been general manager without the title, and he and his buddy Jack Easterby, who was fired during this season, they made decisions like trading Jadeveon Clowney, trading DeAndre Hopkins, not re-signing Tyrann Mathieu, not re-signing nose tackle DJ Reader. They made other decisions that were bad ones. Now, they made a good decision when they brought in Brandon Cooks for a low 2. They made good decisions when they signed Laramie Tunsil and Deshaun Watson. But at the time, those contracts were phenomenal. Tunsil was the highest paid offensive lineman in history. And so they made decisions in personnel. The trade for Laramie Tunsil and a receiver for 2 1s and a 2 to Miami really hurt this team. So they decide they're going to start over. They hired Nick Caserio. They had tried to hire him 2 times before, and he couldn't get out of his contract. Well, the rules changed, and he came in here on a 6-year contract last year. They told him tear it down to the bare bones and start over. They had cap issues. They didn't have picks in two number 1s years in a row and a number 2. So his first pick last year was in the 3rd round. He took Davis Mills. They only had 5 picks overall. Now, next year they got 12 draft choices, 2 number 1s. And, of course, they were really upset when Jacoby Brissett and Amari Cooper worked their miracle in overtime because, of course, they get the Browns' first pick. And John Mechie, the 3rd receiver who was drafted in the 2nd round, he's being treated for leukemia, but he's supposed to be back next year, and they'll have a lot of cap money for the first time. So next year is when this team ought to show market improvement. We think they'll take a quarterback like Bryce Young in the 1st round. But the problem was when they named Bill O'Brien and let him and Jack Easterby run the organization, Bill wasn't a bad coach. Bill, that wasn't the issue. It was Bill as the GM was a disaster. And the McNair family, they hire people. They let them do their jobs. If they don't, they'll fire them. Nick Caserio's job is under no jeopardy. But boy, if Lovie Smith, if they continue to get embarrassed like they have in the last 2 games, I think they'll clean house. And one other thing you guys brought up, Dameon Pierce. Eagles and Giants, he averaged 116.5 yards a game rushing. He was number 4 in the league after that game. The last 2 games against Washington and Miami, they've loaded the box, hit him before he ever gets started, force passes, and then get out the quarterback because they can't throw the ball. Their offensive line all of a sudden has been awful. And so I'm sure that's what the Browns are going to do. The Browns could beat them if they never threw a pass because they have the worst run defense in the NFL. I've been telling people this will be like a joint practice for Watson. They'll have to throw a few from the pocket, throw a few rolling left, throw a few rolling right, and then give the ball to Chubb and Hunt, and then go get on the plane and go home.
We love having you on because you tell it as you see it, and I love that about you. You mentioned that offensive line. I was just getting ready for the game. Across the middle, Kenyon Green, the 1st rounder, Quisenberry, and A.J. Cann, they have given up a lot of sacks this year and a lot of interior pressure, and that obviously makes life tough for any quarterback. What's kind of your thought on that and the interior? Because Howard and Tunsil have been okay at the tackles, but on the interior, if you don't have that, you really can't play offense in the league, and it feels like the Texans aren't.
That's a good observation. The tackles have not been the issue. The problem, Justin Britt was before the center. He took off. They had to elevate Quisenberry. They needed a new center desperately. They brought in A.J. Cann from Jacksonville, where he started 6 years. He's been inconsistent. Kenyon Green from Texas A&M, and a Houston native, 15th overall pick, was an ass-kicking run blocker in college. He started off really well, and then when Washington got here with 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle, they abused him. And then here comes Miami with 1 number 1 pick and a number 2 in the defensive line, and they abuse him and Quisenberry and Cann. So the interior defensive line has really roughed them up in the last 2 games. And, of course, they've got to pay special attention to Myles Garrett, and no matter which side he lines up on. But if I am the Browns, I'm putting Garrett, I'm having him switch over and rush from the inside.
And they do that.
That'll happen, yeah.
That'll happen for sure. Do you think they stick with Kyle Allen the rest of the way, or is it kind of a week-to-week thing?
Well, unless they want to get David Carr from the NFL Network, I don't know who else they would put at quarterback. They got Jeff Driscoll on the practice squad. He's a better runner than passer, but it wouldn't surprise me if they go back to Davis Mills because Kyle Allen is what he is. Came into the league as an undrafted free agent, 5-year veteran. Sunday was the first time he played in 2 years, and he looked like it. And it doesn't matter because they're so bad in the first half. You know, I don't think Otto Graham could work with this offense in the first half. It's so pathetic.
John, it's been 700 days since Deshaun has played in a game, or it will be by the time we get to Sunday. You were there the last time he played in a game. You watched all of his games during his time as a professional player in Houston. We obviously watched him from afar and marveled at his ability. In terms of his fit in this type of offense that Kevin Stefanski runs, the Shanahan wide zone scheme, what will he like most about this, and what of his strengths will be amplified by this offense?
First of all, as you guys know, the Browns have to run the ball. You never can tell what the weather's going to be like, and it doesn't matter if it's September. Only time Watson played there was the game in November, and 2 years ago when the wind was so bad they had to evacuate the stadium. When I went to my car afterward, I almost blew over. It was so bad. So that's why I eliminated Cleveland right off the bat. But they gave him $230 million reasons to change his mind. You know, there hadn't been a 4,000-yard passer there since Sipe in 1980. Here, 4,000 was routine because he played his own games indoors, Jacksonville, Tennessee, indoors, and Indy. The big test for him is going to be playing all these games outdoors after this one because he's not used to playing in bad weather. And I think that there'll still be a running team, but he is a great quarterback. His last season here, he was fantastic. And they had a bad record. It wasn't his fault. If you take away all the off-field stuff, he's a leader. He's tough. We saw him play with a punctured lung and fractured ribs, and he made so many great plays. He will make dynamic plays for the Browns, and, you know, after a while, people will never forget what he was accused of, and the league said he did here, but they'll focus more on his playing because – you know, Bernie Kosar was a really good quarterback, and Sipe was a really good quarterback, and I'll guarantee you over time, Watson will be the best quarterback they've had since Otto Graham.
Fantastic stuff, sir.
Mic drop
Thank you
there.
so much for your time, as always.
Yes.
We love talking to you. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time today.
And I can be read on GallerySports.com, and there's no paywall.
How about that?
Free.
The General
Thanks,
for free?
guys.
That's
Let's
excellent.
go.
Check it
For
out
free.
at GallerySports.com. He is the general. As you probably could tell right there, he is the authority.
That's right.
On Houston sports, the NFL, and all things else, it feels like. It's a treat to have him on,
doesn't mince
obviously.
words.
He does not. He was on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, an official sponsor of the Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. And there's nothing quite like tailgating touchdowns and Twisted Tea. It tastes just like real iced tea. You know why? Because it's made with real brewed tea, cool, refreshing, 5% kick of alcohol. It's thirst down and gold. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
You know, you brought up something I thought so interesting in that interview, and you were talking about, you know, where does the blame fall? And he said, well, Bill O'Brien, the GM, you know, trading, getting rid of the cornerstones of your franchise on both sides of the ball. And it's amazing to me that Bill Belichick is obviously Bill Walsh, I'll still put in the conversation, but is probably the greatest coach of all time. But he has not
Paul
been
Brown, Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh. Like, those are the guys. Yeah.
He has not been a great GM, and yet the guys that leave his tree try to be him so badly that they want to do all of the different things too, and maybe they're also not good at GMing.
No, they all want that same amount of power.
It's wild, and it's never worked.
No, not Josh McDaniels in Denver. Doesn't feel like Josh McDaniels in Vegas.
At least
It's
not
early.
right now, but he brought a GM with him.
He
at
did.
Least.
Yeah,
He's
it's a
not
little
trying
different.
to do it
yeah.
all.
But you're right. O'Brien with Texans.
Weiss,
yeah.
Romeo, Mangenius.
Yeah, they all wanted all the power in the world like Bill had, and it's weird that you would not see that Bill the GM undercut Bill the coach.
Yeah,
over and over and over again.
He had some moments. Obviously, he's had some good draft picks, but for the most part, not great.
Not great.
No,
I
not
mean,
a
and
great draft
I think
record.
the other thing that is all very clear about that whole operation is that Brady was a little bit of an elixir for all the rest of it. He covered up a lot of stuff through the years, or the lack of stuff that was happening there. I just think it's a fascinating spot down there in the standpoint of how an empire can crumble, or what you thought was on the cusp of being an empire can crumble.
And it crumbled if you go back the playoff game against Kansas City.
Right, 24-0 in that game.
And then that's it. Look at this guy, Annarella, legend.
Absolute legend. All right, it is a Thursday. The Score's coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Catch the Kevin Stefanski Show with Zia Gerard tonight, 7 to 8, University Hospital's Cleveland Browns Radio Network. Coach and Anthony Schwartz will join the guys to get you ready for Sunday's game against the Texans.
Actually, an interesting interview with Anthony Schwartz, a guy that I know has been much maligned and certainly has not produced at the level that you wanted to, or that we felt like we were going to get after that Week 1 game in Kansas City a year ago. But a guy who's worked hard and has, quietly gone about doing whatever he can to help the team, whether that's playing special teams, making tackles. He was the one who actually made the tackle on Corey Bojorquez's big punt, where there was also the block in the back that flipped the field late in that game, that set up the Miles sack, that set up the touchdown to David Njoku. So he's done a lot of little things to help this football team, and he's gotten to work a lot with Deshaun Watson the last couple of weeks on the scout team. And so hopefully there's like a connection there because his speed, especially in a dome like in Houston, could really unlock some things against, some safeties who are struggling mightily for the Houston Texans.
He's just got it's just the catch part. I mean, which is an enormous part. He had 2 drops today. I saw in some of the videos going around in practice, and you just got to catch it when it's on your hands, brother. That's it. It's an important part of it.
I feel like it has become mental. You can literally see him fighting the ball.
For sure. We talked about that in camp.
It's been for a long time. Yeah.
So that's a tough one to get past. But I was good to see him. He's a great dude. We've had him in here. He's awesome. But
if you're trying to think your way through a golf swing, you're not going to hit the ball where you want to. If you're trying to think your way through a clutch beer pong shot, you're not going to throw the ball where you need to. Just like if you're trying to think your way through catching the ball, you're not going to catch it. You got to catch it.
Got to catch it. And it's like you tell any kid, like,
do it.
You've done the homework.
Do it.
So don't worry about it. Do it. Right?
It's like Starsky and Hutch. Underrated movie. Do it.
Such underrated and great.
And never on.
Never on.
Never. It's almost as if it's been
It had a run on TNT like 5 or 6 years ago where it would run on.
But it's incredible.
But it's great. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It gets lost for sure. And it's amazing.
I mean, it's not of the Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller movies. It's not number 1 for me, but I think like Zoolander obviously would be.
I think it might be more.
It's really good.
I think there's more in it.
Zoolander means something special to me.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. Well, you had a career as a male model.
Jacoby Mugatu. Legend.
He's great. He is great. All right, Gibby, we got a score?
We have a Thursday night football score, and it's a big one in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, 8-3. By the way, 0-2 in their division.
They are.
Traveling to New England to battle the 6-5 Patriots. Zagura.
I'll leave it up to my man, Bill.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Bill Belichick, a home dog. Really?
Huh?
The Bills can't win at home. Bills haven't won anything in the AFC.
Really?
Really?
On a Thursday?
On a Thursday? Patriots. Patriots. Patriots, 39,000. Bills, 0.
Really?
Really? We're back tomorrow. Next Level is next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.